And welcome back to the OHIO podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Buckeye Boggs, a.k.a. the Podfather, and you are you, and we're thankful you decided to join us this evening for another Sunday evening roundtable discussion show. We are the official Ohio State podcast of Fansided and Scarlet and Game. Head over to scarletandgame.com if you don't like the way my face looks. Don't worry, neither does my ex-wife. You can listen to us over there at scarletandgame.com or wherever you download your podcast. Make sure to give us a 5-star review when you do. We absolutely appreciate each and every single one of you who have and will continue to support this channel via our podcast. And we are also the official Ohio State podcast of The College Huddle. Head on over to The College Huddle where you can join us and 80 of our other closest friends from coast to coast covering their favorite college teams and schools as well, including our newest member of the College Huddle, Country Roads Podcast. Of course, they're covering West Virginia. Tonight's episode is brought to you by A Place at Home Senior Care. Is your loved one recovering from a recent hospitalization, stroke, or fall, or living with dementia and needing support at home? A Place at Home Dublin provides home care supportive services like bathing, dressing, mobility assistance, and medication reminders, all in the comfort of home. Learn more at aplaceathome.com/Dublin or call 740-472-8181. Again, that's 740-472-8181. And joining me this evening for our panel is Chris below me and Cory down there diagonal to me. And our guest tonight is Strez. Strez, welcome to the OHIO podcast. Tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Really excited to talk some Buckeyes ball here. I'm Strez. Real name is Darrick, but that doesn't matter at all, honestly. I reside in Kansas City. As you can see behind me, I am in enemy territory with my Broncos fandom, but also represent the Ohio State Buckeyes loud and proud here in Kansas City. So really excited to be here. You can follow me on anywhere on social media. It's .strez. Over on TikTok, and I think that's the same thing on Twitter. It's _Strez on Twitter, but type in Strez, you'll probably find me.
And he is a great follow, guys. I enjoy his football takes, and we are looking forward to getting into some great discussions this evening. Don't forget to smash that like button. We like that, say that so much, we put it on our coffee mugs here. Smash that like button, everybody. Make sure you share the show and keep the chat a hopping tonight. It seems to be going really, really well. By the way, Ryan Day's championship beard has done it again. Biggie Pods. Yo, Championship Nation. Biggie Pods is here to bump these gums around the table with Dr. Cory, Funk, and Lil Wow, man. Oh, my gosh, dude. You kill me, man. By the way, I got to meet Steely. Or not Steely. I'm sorry, Steely. I got to meet Speedman. I said Steely because I just saw your comment. I got to meet Speedman Friday for lunch. Him and his dear wife were up in Columbus, and he wanted to meet me for lunch. So thank you for the lunch, Speedman. It was a pleasure meeting you in person and your dear wife. And we love meeting the people in the chat and all those who interact with us. Chris, guess what tonight? I got some good news.
Okay, hit me.
I know you're down in the dumps. I know you're being Mr. Negative. This is going to make you happy. My pastor handed me $100 tonight for the next little library.
Nice.
Yeah. So that gives our total to $440. We're up to $440. So shout out to Pastor D, as we call him. So thankful for that. And we filled up the blessing box again today. It's the second time we've had to fill it up already since we opened that up. So that is getting utilized, which was the whole purpose. So there you have it, man. Buckeye Pay says, thank you, Podfather, for the shirt. By the way, absolutely. If you are a member of this podcast, $3.99 a month. After you've been a member for a month, email the show at theohiopodcast@gmail.com. We will send you a members only t-shirt as our way of saying thank you for finding what we do pleasurable to you. And by the way, you get free extra content as well for members only. And that magazine that is being started to be made by yours truly and Chris. All right, let's dive into it tonight, guys. Apparently, when Fox announced that Ohio State and Texas, they own the rights to that game, to television rights, The University of Ohio State University, the Ohio State University athletic department made a appeal to Fox to move this game to prime time and or move it to Sunday night so that they could put this thing on prime time. Unfortunately, it sounds like Texas says no dice. They are blocking that game from being moved to a primetime spot. They want to play at noon. And I don't blame them for wanting to play this game at noon, to be completely honest with you. Ohio Stadium at noon is not the same as it is under the lights. I can attest to that, having been there a bunch of times myself. This game under the lights would be frothy, to say the least. At noon, I'm a little worried. I ain't gonna lie, and so I completely get why Texas wants to do this. But at the same time, I've got to ask the question, guys: is this super soft by the Longhorns? Strez, you're our guest, my man. Why don't you address this from your perspective first?
Yeah, I think I actually think it's pretty crazy that they would veto a primetime game when they have a chance. The thing going into this Texas game that I am nervous about, right? We've got a new quarterback. We've got younger guys on the defense this season. We still have Jeremiah Smith. We still have Caleb Downs. We still have the best players in the country on the team. So that's like, we'll be fine as long as we've got those two guys. But when we're playing against a team that's out for blood, out for revenge, I'm sure there's still plenty enough guys on this team in Texas that are, have that nasty taste in their mouth. And it was shocking to me to see that they didn't want that shot to take place in the primetime slot when the entire country was there to watch and see the game and see what Arch Manning is going to be able to do, see what this new look Texas offense is going to do. I was shocked by it, and I don't know if it's soft. Definitely feels soft, at least soft adjacent. But yeah, it was actually shocking to me whenever I read that article when that came out the other day.
Cory, your thoughts, my man?
I think Strez said it right. Stop adjacent for sure. But I get the strategy behind it. If they hadn't lost to us in the playoff last year in prime time, I think possibly they have a change of mind on this. Maybe it's different. Maybe it's not a lose situation. But if they lose to us again in prime time, it just looks like we own them at that point, right? So then that hurts in other ways across. I know understand NIL is huge and all that, but it still hurts a little bit in recruiting and things like that. It still hurts in prestige a little bit and things like that. It hurts the narrative that Sark has the team on the upswing and they're coming back. It probably hurts their confidence a little bit going in the SEC the rest of the year. Not to say they can't lose at noon, but I don't know. Losing in the middle of the day, not quite the same impact as 8 p.m. at night, all alone on a Sunday, no less. So strategically, I totally get what they're doing, and I think it's smart on their part. Maybe soft adjacent, but smart on their part. A story goes of Sugar Ray Leonard kind of dodging Marvin Hagler for years, and he had dinner with Marvin, and Marvin said, "Oh, I'm beat up after that last fight," and then Sugar Ray Leonard said, "Now it's time to fight him." I mean, it's you call it whatever you want. Strategically, it makes sense and it's smart. So I can understand where Texas is coming from. As much as I want to trash talk, if Ohio State played the same gamesmanship about Texas, I think, okay, I kind of get where they're coming from.
All right, Chris. As Amika likes to call you, Grumpy Cat, I'm sure you're going to have a grumpy response here.
Gutless cowards. Gutless cowards. You have the Heisman favorite. You have one of the betting favorites to win the national title. What better way to get this season off on the right foot than to play it in prime time for the whole nation to see? If you are as good, if your quarterback is as good as advertised, then you should be wanting to show it in prime time so everyone can see it. Now, that being said, they're gutless cowards, but they are the smartest bunch of gutless cowards you'll ever see. I'm going to tell you right now, Texas is a team used to playing in hot temperatures. Hot August in Ohio, I think favors Texas. Even though Ohio State plays in it as well, Texas does it week in and week out. You look at the reduced number of tailgates, because let's face it, Eric, you and I have been there. The tailgating isn't as tense. You aren't drinking. We don't have a bunch of drunken fans getting rowdy in the crowd at noon. I believe that, and Cory touched on this, I think it would have been better from a recruiting standpoint to show that game for both teams in prime time. But if Texas isn't 100% sure they're going to win, I can see why they took the high road and got out of it. And, despite the fact that we all want it, everybody in Ohio wants to see that be a primetime game. I think what you touched on, Cory, about the fact that we beat them in primetime last time, has the Texas faithful on board with this whole idea of, let's keep this game at noon. Let's see if there's any strategic advantage to us playing this at noon. And honestly, guys, I think there is. I think there's some strategic advantage to Texas playing this game at noon. So even though they are gutless cowards, they are smart gutless cowards.
Of course there's a strategic advantage to this. We say the exact same things when we see the schedule come out every year and we play Penn State in their stadium at noon, and we know it's not going to be a whiteout.
It's not a whiteout, yeah.
It is a completely different atmosphere. Although the teams are exactly the same, the players are the same, the coaching staff's the same, none of that changes. What changes is the atmosphere. The atmosphere of the stadium is what changes. And Ohio Stadium is no different. Do I think that Ohio State fans are going to be there, be excited, be loud, be proud? Sure. But you put those same people, well, they won't be exactly the same people, because a lot of Ohio State fans who are elderly sell those tickets to young people who want to be there, scream and yell and drink all day. Okay, that's the God's honest truth, which is one of the reasons why Gene Smith said what he said years ago about not wanting to play night games in November. You guys remember that comment when he said we don't want to play under the lights in November? It's not a Big Ten thing because a lot of our people travel and they don't want to drive at night.
There were Cory's going to blow a gasket.
That's another podcast. I don't even want to get into that one.
But you're 100% right, guys. There is indeed a strategic advantage here for Texas. It's the same advantage we have when we go into Happy Valley and we play them at noon and it's not a night game. But I say this. I want Penn State to be a 7:30 kick last Saturday in October for the rest of my life.
Absolutely.
That should be your Halloween game, man. Every single year, it was great. It was great theater. The players loved it. And this could be the exact same thing, and we're not going to get that because of Big Noon Kickoff. Strez, what is your opinion of Fox and Big Noon Kickoff?
Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt are two of my favorite announcers in the game. I think that they put good color and just good commentary on the way that a football game goes along. But I am sick and tired of I'm in the central time zone. Like, that's 11 o'clock for me, right? I haven't even really digested my breakfast by the time that kickoff happens for an Ohio State game, because they're always the big noon kickoff. Like, I'm getting tired of it. We're the best program in the country. We're the defending national champions this year. There is no reason that we should have more noon games than we have primetime games. And it just drives me nuts. But to kind of that point about this being a little bit of a strategic advantage for Texas, I do think that it could backfire on them just a little bit, because whoever it is that we have under center, they're going to be taking their first snaps essentially as the starting quarterback for this program. I am okay with them not having to wait all day and think about the game all day long, and they go out there and they take their first snap at noon and they get that first hit out of the way at noon. It does play into a little bit of being able to have a young guy at quarterback, whether it's Julian Sand, whether whoever it's going to be. I think it plays to our advantage also to have an earlier game with a young quarterback. So I actually think that might backfire on Texas just a little bit. So
Great point. Cory, you want to respond to that idea?
Disagree with everything. No, I'm kidding. But no, I actually want to build off a little bit of what Strez is saying too. And the one thing I think also another thing could backfire in Texas with this decision is our team now knows they're soft. That's now our team's like, oh, they don't want a night game with us. We know why. So, it gives us a little bit more of a mental edge, in my opinion. That could be a positive. But I will go on big noon kickoff. Can kick rocks. I can't. It's the worst thing to ever happen to college football. That's over embellishing a little bit, but I can't. Look, I love big games. Eric Podfather, 100% with you. Put that Penn State game at 7:30 for the rest of my life as well. I want those big games. Every time we play a blue blood or a major program, put that at nighttime. Texas, Ohio State is absolutely primetime television, and it was in 2005, and it should be now. And it's disgusting that, look, Strez, I agree with you. Klatt and Johnson call a good game, but Klatt's defense of Big Noon is indefensible. It's ridiculous. I understand he's a company guy. He's got to do what he's got to do, but he defends it like he came up with it. And I just don't understand it. It's not good for college football at all. In fact, to the further Strez's point about the Central Time Zone, my girlfriend lives on the friggin' and her game starts at 9 a.m. Yeah. So it's like she's just waking up basically like, okay, there's a good football game on. This should be a night game every time under the lights for these kinds of games. Ohio State Rutgers is fine for Big Noon, but Ohio State Texas, that is prime time all the time.
100%. And I made this comment a couple weeks ago. You watch, our 7:30 kick is going to be against Grambling State or Ohio University. Why? Why is it that game? There's no reason why either one of those two games should be a primetime game. Yes, Chris.
It's simple. It's simple, Eric. It's the damn dollar. That's what it comes down to. Ohio State draws viewers. Media money, which is absolutely ruining the game of football. It's allowing the media networks to go out and dictate game schedules, and the implications don't affect the networks. They're still getting their viewers. Who it affects? It affects the teams. It affects the fans. And I'm just waiting for the day we wake up and have to get up at 7 a.m. because Ohio State is playing a game in London. That is what this is coming to. The whole damn NFL light thing is out of control at this point. But that's what it is.
That might be the line of the night. 7 o'clock game in London. Here we come.
That might be the day I stop watching. I'm not even joking. That might do it for me.
Oh my goodness, Scott! I think that the hoodie's available on our website. Is it not, Chris?
No.
No. Okay.
No, this one is not. But it could be.
Okay, I gotcha. All right, let's go back around one more time here. Let's talk a little bit about that game and the strategicness of that game. Strez, you brought up the fact that, more than likely, we got Julian Sane starting game number 1. Arch Manning is going to be starting. I believe this will be his 4th start as a Longhorn. I believe he started 3 games last season, if I recall correctly. But he's never started a game like this. And I do believe all the pressure is on Arch Manning, not necessarily on Julian Sane here in game number 1. Your thoughts about what a Big Noon kickoff in the shoe for these two quarterbacks would mean?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think Arch has all the pressure. He's got the name, he's got the future of the Texas Longhorns program on his shoulders. He's got for some reason, the consensus future number 1 overall pick in next year's NFL draft. There is so much pressure that is riding on Arch Manning's shoulders. And I think Julian Sane probably sat there and watched Will Howard play this last season. It was like, you know what? I don't have to go out there and be a world beater. I can go out there and play the game and give the ball to the athletes we have at every position and go out there and win. So I think it's, and it being that noon kickoff time, I do think that Arch is going to have, I think also too, when I think about his snaps that he took in that college football playoff game against us last season, he got smacked around a little bit.
He got lit up, brother.
Yeah, I'm pretty convinced that was a fumble. Also, we'll talk about officiating in the next half of the episode. I have some thoughts about some officiating in some previous games that have happened in the college football playoff history with Ohio State. But yeah, he got lit up a little bit, and so I'm wondering if like that's going to be in the back of his head. You know, if one of our edge rushers coming off the edge, because he sat there and watched Jack Sawyer go off the edge and cause that strip sack. You know, you wonder if all of these things are going to play into it, because that was the last game that they played. It wasn't our last game. It was their last game that they played. And it's going to be the first game that they play this season. So I don't know. It's going to be a really interesting, it's going to be interesting to see what Arch does. But I was watching a clip Wednesday or Thursday this last week, and I can't remember who it was. I think it was a former Alabama quarterback. But I can't remember which one it was. And he was throwing out the idea that maybe Sark doesn't quite believe in Arch, because if Arch was good like everybody thinks he's going to be, then why wasn't he starting over Quinn Ewers, who was drafted on the last day of the NFL draft this last season? Right? If Arch was really that next guy, that next Manning that's going to be that massive name at the next level, why wasn't he able to go out there and start over a quarterback who is probably not going to be a starter in the NFL at any point in his career? I thought that was a really interesting point of contention as well. So I don't know. Maybe there's something there that Arch isn't exactly what everybody thinks he is, and he's like being shielded by the name. But it's going to be interesting to see what he does when he comes out on that Saturday.
100%. $50 super chat tonight from Doodah Man. A little help for the library. Nice. Thank you much, man. That means we're up to 490. Chris, we're almost halfway already.
Yes, we are.
Thank you so much for that. Appreciate that.
We should be able to get that next one up before the start of the school year.
You know what? I was thinking about that. I think we definitely should push for that. We'll talk about that offline, because that absolutely could happen. Cory, your thoughts on Arch, man, and what this game entails for him and the pressure applied to him, just based off the last name.
Well, I think he's happy that Lathan Ransom went pro. That's for sure. And I agree, Strez, that was a fumble. But the Arch, I think, has all the tools to be really good. I mean, he looks really good when he does play. I think there is, something to question about what Strez is saying. Why couldn't he start over Quinn Ewers? Y'all remember Quinn coming in as like that otherworldly prospect. I kind of wonder if he was a guy who just lit it up in practice, and then he gets in the games and he's like seeing ghosts and shadows and hearing footsteps, and he just because I remember Zach Smith told me one time that JT Barrett in practice used to just light it up. You look really good, and then he gets in the game and he's not doing anything he practiced all week. It was always a little interesting. I'm wondering if that's the same issue with Quinn. Maybe he just got ruined by the time he was in that late in his career. I can't explain it either. Maybe Arch isn't all that good. I don't know. He's looked good to me at times, but the Manning name obviously creates a little bit of bias with him. If his name is Arch Jones, I mean, you probably think he's just another quarterback. The good thing for Julian Sand is he's a 5-star guy that almost nobody knows about outside of Buckeye Nation. So Arch, as everybody knows because of the name. So yeah, the pressure is 100% on Arch to be a killer right out of week one. Julian Sand, the only pressure with him is, will Buckeye Nation turn on him after the first incompletion? That's the only question with it. But most of us, and I'd say 80% of us, know you got to give him a little bit of time and let him grow. And he's not expected to be CJ Stroud circa 2022, first game or whatever. So I think I hope Ryan Day's beating in his head, like you don't like stress about sit behind Will Howard. You don't have to be a world beater right now. Just play the game, let it come to you, make the smart choices, and you'll end up with a pretty good stat line, and we'll win the game. And that's all that matters. So that being said, yeah, the pressure is completely on Arch for this game. Maybe, you know what? Bouncing off Strez's idea, maybe that's another reason why they don't want it at nighttime. They don't want Arch under the lights looking like crap because they're a little bit afraid he may be not what he's built up to be yet. So there's another aspect to that. But yeah, because of that name, man, Arch, the Manning name, and Peyton had to ruin it for all of them. So now it's Eli looks mediocre by comparison, even though he had a really good career. And Arch, sorry, buddy, you gotta live up to what your dad couldn't do because he was injured. So it is what it is.
Ryan Day's championship beard has gifted 5 memberships, and one of them was to himself. That's fantastic. One went to You Drink It. What a name, You Drink It. Lee got one, and is it Lucia or Lucia? I don't know. Lucia Channels, we'll say that, was gifted one as well. And then Russ Stallard was gifted a membership. Thank you, Ryan Day's Championship Beard, man. Appreciate that. And then, of course, he had to respond. I received a gift from myself. Fantastic. Chris, all right, man. Arch, what do you think, buddy?
I think he's a good quarterback who has a lot to prove before he's elite. He's carrying around a name that is going to just do nothing but add additional pressure to a guy in his first road test, his first real road test. You know, even though it's not what it would be as a night game, you're still going to have crowd noise that's going to be able to, disrupt the count, disrupt the cadence. We could see false starts. We could see delays. He's got to stay under control emotionally. He can't let the fans, the media, the legacy of his name get to him, because if he does, he is going to falter, and he's going to falter mightily. I think he's a guy, like I said, he's got the tools to be good. Is he elite? I don't know. I haven't seen it. But as just to kind of piggyback off what Cory was saying, Julian Saint's a guy we haven't really seen him go out there and do it on the big stage himself yet either. But you know what? He's got a great scheme. He has the home field crowd that, as long as, like Cory said, doesn't turn on him after that first incompletion. And man, the weapons around him, even if he's not elite yet, the weapons around him are. I really feel like this game is advantage Saiyan. I do. Right now, I think this game is advantage Saiyan from a quarterback standpoint. Now, that being said, the one thing we questioned when we lost Will Howard was leadership. I kind of feel like Arch Manning, that might be in his DNA a little bit. That's one spot where maybe he does have an advantage. Maybe that's in the DNA. But I think we're going to have to wait till August 30th to see how that plays out.
Interesting take there. That's good. That's good. I didn't think about that one, Chris. That's good. Do they bring Bevo with them to Ohio? Yes or no?
I'm all up for some steak.
I thought Bevo we grilled him last year already. They had to get a new one.
Well, they got a lot of Longhorns in Texas, so let's get another one and let's eat them. I'm hungry now. Let's go get some steak.
There's a Texas Longhorn farm in the county just east in Licking County. There's a huge Texas Longhorn farm. I'm sure they could probably borrow one of theirs to bring to the stadium, but I don't see that happening. I don't see. Although it'd be hilarious if Brutus jumped up and started riding that bull. That'd be all right.
And I just hate to be the janitor that day.
Oh, jeez. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we are going to play. This game is going to be wild. This is going to be interesting. We're going to play What If. I think you all are going to seriously enjoy this game. We'll be back in just 2 minutes, everybody.
Hey, Buckeye Nation. The OHIO podcast is thrilled to partner with Export Mouthguards, the innovators redefining protection in contact sports. Introducing the Ninja Pro Mouthguard, the strongest and most advanced mouthguard on the market. Engineered by dental experts, it's designed to deliver elite protection with a sleek, low-profile fit. Made with carbon fiber and multi-layer construction, it's impact tested to keep you safe from even the hardest hits. But that's not all. The Ninja Pro is 3D printed for 100% custom fit, offering unbeatable comfort and security for any athlete. From football to MMA, dominate your game with confidence while safeguarding your teeth and jaw. Getting started is easy. Use our home impression kit to create your custom fit and enjoy prepaid shipping. It's protection delivered right to your door. Plus, with a 1-year warranty and 100% satisfaction guarantee, and proudly made in the USA, the Ninja Pro is your ultimate defense on the field or in the ring. And here's the best part. When you visit exportguards.com, use promo code OHIO at checkout to get 20% off your purchase. That's right, 20% off elite protection made just for you. Protect your game, protect your future. Choose Export Ninja Pro mouthguards, where innovation meets protection. Head to exportguards.com and use promo code OHIO today.
The OHIO podcast is brought to you by Mastermind. Mastermind specializes in 360-degree high-definition mobile video mapping, GIS integration, and traffic safety studies. Mastermind cares about traffic safety and keeping you safe on the roadway. Visit Mastermind at onlinemastermind.com. And again, we want to thank A Place at Home Senior Care for sponsoring today's episode. Again, if you have a loved one who needs some extra care, 740-472-8181. Call them up, have them help with your loved one there in the greater Columbus, Dublin area. I promise you, you will be thankful you did, and they will be thankful you did too. I know if my mom needed help, I'm calling them because Lord knows my mom's not going to want my help. That's for sure. All right. We want my mom to be okay. Okay. That's what I'm saying here. All right. Let's play What If. This is going to be a wild game. So I started thinking about some things this week, like how things would be different if something else would have happened. And I challenged the panel tonight to come up with several what ifs. And let's just see where the conversation goes. I'm going to start with Cory first. I want Cory to deliver a what if, and then we're going to respond with what we think would have been different or changed. And let's just dive down this rabbit hole tonight and see how many we can go through. We might get through a handful of these, and we might only get through a couple. I don't know, but this will be a lot of fun, Cory. Let's start with you, my man.
Forgot I had my mic muted. What if Joe Burrow had stayed at Ohio State?
I was not ready to answer that.
You hadn't thought about that one, Eric? Come on.
No.
Everybody's thought about that one.
No, I haven't. And can I tell you why I haven't? Because in 2018, right? Yeah, 2018, Dwayne Haskins was awesome.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
But imagine if Joe Burrow decided to stay past 18, go to 19. I'm telling you right now, we win the national championship with that team.
If that's the
because
case,
there's no LSU.
There's no Justin Fields then.
Yeah, but there's no LSU. We have Joe Burrow at his peak with Ryan Day's offensive ability, and we had a great offense and a run game that year, and a phenomenal defense. There is no team in that country that is better than us. And I feel that because remember, Fields was injured for the Clemson game. If Burrow's healthy, I think we beat Clemson. I think we win the Natty against whomever is there. I don't think anybody could have matched us that year. I think we win the national championship. That does not mean I dislike Dwayne Haskins or Justin Fields. I'm just saying what I think happened.
Yeah, you love Dwayne Haskins.
Oh, I love Dwayne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Strez? What if Joe Burrow would have stayed?
I'm a big Joe Shiesty guy. He's one of my favorite guys in the NFL at the moment, and I will always claim him. It'd be like one of my favorite Buckeye quarterbacks in the NFL is Joe Burrow, right? But you just kind of have to wonder. His first season at LSU was not the best, and that's kind of the thing that kind of slows me down in that thought process. Would he have had a down year being an assistant that he knew really well? Probably not. Maybe not. Maybe throwing to that receiver room that was built at that point. wouldn't have, he would have been just kind of slid right in and went straight to what did he throw 1,000 touchdowns that season that you're talking about? Some crazy number, right?
Like 63 or something like
Yeah,
that.
it was unbelievable. It was an unbelievable season. But that was one of the what ifs that I was thinking through getting ready for tonight's conversation, and that was not one that popped into my head. That's a really good what if.
I am dumbfounded, Corey. I did not think about this one, man. And now you got me thinking, because I've always I've brushed that off and been like, I don't like it when fans bring up the Burrow thing, because I think as a Dwayne Haskins guy, it's kind of like, let's not take away from what Dwayne Haskins did. I'm not saying that's what you were doing, Corey. I'm just saying, like, I don't like to think about that.
I'm just doing it for the sake of hypothetical. When people say that we wish we had Joe over Dwayne, I tell them to shut up, because Dwayne had a phenomenal year. And
100%.
Nobody lost in that transaction.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, a what if situation. Look, Burrow at LSU was throwing to what? Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, not Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and a couple others that went to the pros.
Yeah.
At OSU, the 18 he had McLaurin, Paris Campbell, and Austin Mack was a big part of it. The next year he has a freshman Garrett Wilson, Austin Mack, Benjamin Victor, Olave. I think he has just enough firepower to put up stats in 19 and 18. I agree with you. Maybe he doesn't come back for 19. But if he comes back, if he says, you know what, I'm going to come back. Because, maybe he's like, I can improve my draft stock still. Maybe he sees what we have coming back. And Ryan Day's excited about Ryan Day being a head coach. Who knows? There could be anything that triggers him to come back for 19.
Yeah, here's my problem with this, Corey, is you want to deny the world the joy of Coach O.
Yeah. You go down here, we're going to win. Go win that game, man.
What would you rather have?
I guarantee you they based. I'm not sure whether Coach O was based off the character in The Waterboy or vice versa. But I'm telling you, it's a real thing. But to the point that Strez had earlier, man. Joe struggled a little bit that first year, and I don't know that he is as good as advertised that first year. And you'd be throwing away the season that Haskins had.
But for a national title, in my opinion. I mean, it's hypothetical.
But is it? Yeah. Because let's remember, that puts the monster in front of us, the monster that we couldn't conquer until about 2 years later.
Mm-hmm.
That would have had us against Clemson.
And I think if Fields and JK are not injured, we win that game.
Going,
I think if Fields and JK are not injured, we actually win that game. But I'm basing it off Burrow not being injured. I think Burrow was much further advanced in 2019 as a passer than Justin Fields was at the time. So I would say it gives us a better chance to beat Clemson, in my opinion.
Yeah. I'm thinking of like the butterfly effect of Joe Burrow staying and like Dwayne Haskins staying another year and being the starter at that point. And
that's
then
possible too.
Potentially still being with us today. Like if that were the case, like if that were something that would have happened, like the ramifications that lead us up to 2025, like Dwayne Haskins would probably still be with us today. But man, that's like kind of an emotional what if in my brain. I don't know.
Gosh.
Anything that involves Dwayne Haskins is, I get a little emotional thinking about him.
Well, think about this, Strez. If Burrow goes in 2018, has a great year, we don't win it, but he has a great year, he goes pro. Dwayne's the guy. Say he sticks around, and he's the guy, right? Yeah. He can win the national title in 19.
Easy.
He's easily capable of it. So.
Easy.
I now realize that the meme where that woman is laying in bed and she's like, I wonder who he's thinking about, and he's over there.
This is 100% that meme.
Stuff we think about.
Yep.
That's gonna happen tonight. Like it's gonna be 2 a.m. and I'm gonna be like, Joe Burrow, Dwayne Haskins, and like I'm like all then the Zach Galifianakis meme with all the theories and equations around my head.
He sounds hideous. Well, it's a guy, so.
Oh man, what a way to get this started. Jiminy Christmas. Okay, Strez, your turn, man. Give us a what if.
Oh, okay. My what if is Braxton Miller doesn't get hurt. Do we go on to win the national championship in the first college football playoff? And then follows up with JT Barrett getting hurt. If both of those guys stay healthy, Do we win that national championship?
2 rough ones in a row.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think this game was going to be? We're not.
Oh man.
Well, I'll tell you what, Eric.
Go ahead.
If this doesn't happen, I don't know that we ever hear next man up.
Well, that would be definitely a benefit in my life. That is the worst cliche in all of sports, in my opinion.
You know, Braxton was great, no doubt about it. I don't know if we win the national title or not. I feel like this team, we probably do, because I feel like this team was meant to win. It was like a team of destiny.
Yeah.
To go out there and win with a third string quarterback, but not just that, but until this year, we'd never seen a run in college football like we saw Cardale Jones make in the playoffs. Starting with that 59-0 demolition of Wisconsin in the championship game that had to get us there, to his performance, and of course, who could forget Zeke's performance in the game over Alabama, and then just the legendary performance versus Oregon. I don't know. I like to say that the Michigan loss this year wasn't the loss we wanted, but it was the loss we needed.
Yeah.
I might argue that Braxton wasn't the injury we wanted. It may have been the injury we needed to get to the national title.
Yeah.
And I don't like saying that because I absolutely love Braxton Miller.
Yeah.
So dynamic. But honestly, I think it turned out well for everybody. He had a nice career in the NFL as a receiver.
$2 holler from Bobby Mack. God has a plan for all of us, so what is don't matter. True, but in this game it does. So, all right, Cory, you right away when Strez brought out this what if, you said no.
I don't think we win it with Braxton. I love Braxton. I say that with all love, man. But he was a selfish player. He was a bog. Even Urban said it, by the way, in a press conference, says he won't give the ball up like on pitches and things like that. I'm screaming at him to give it to Hyde or give it to the running back, and he just takes it. Now, don't get me wrong, Braxton was the player we absolutely had to have for the transition between Tressel, Fickle, and Meyer. We didn't have a ton of talent on offense. We needed a dynamic playmaker. Boy, was he the best playmaker in college football. But when we had a team around us with Mike Thomas emerging, we didn't know at the time, but he was emerging. Zeke Elliott emerging. That offensive line emerging. Tight end, Tennant Harriman and Vanette emerging. Devin Smith. We needed a guy who could facilitate, get the ball to the weapons. And JT Barrett did that for a lot of the year, and then Cardale did that. I mean, Cardale, a lot of his passes were just toss it up and let the guys go get it, which is what we needed.
Go deep.
Yeah, exactly. Devin Smith down there somewhere, whatever. And then, of course, Zeke just rips off a run for the ages, but that doesn't happen with Braxton Miller. Yeah. That's just not the kind of player he was. Again, I hate saying that because I love the guy, and I'm so thrilled the next year could say, I'm not the quarterback. My shoulder's never going to be the same. I can play H-back, and he was phenomenal in that role as well, even with Ed Werner being an idiot. So, no, we don't win the title with him. Urban Meyer's legend never really grows at Ohio State. We're always a good competitive program, but probably not to that upper echelon. But Braxton's absolutely the guy we needed in that transition period.
Yeah.
The chat is wanting to take part in this so bad. They're all throwing what ifs at us left and right. That a lot of them are really good.
What if a meteor hit the game? No.
Yeah. All right, Strez, I want you to circle back on your own what if.
Yeah. I definitely think that I don't know that we win it, even with JT at quarterback that season. There was just something extra that the team around 12 gauge came about and really stepped up their performance. Like every single guy on the roster stepped up because they knew, like, all right, we're down to our third string quarterback, even though our third string quarterback could start at pretty much every single other program in the country. I don't know if we win that. And on top of that, we then wouldn't get that insane spin move highlight against Virginia Tech the next season if that doesn't happen. So it was a win-win, honestly, for everybody involved.
Yeah. All right, Chris, you want to go? Or you want me to go? Because the chat's been dancing all over one of mine, but I'll give you the option if you want to go next.
So, oh man, I've got so many good ones to go. Let's go with this one first. What if Maurice Clarett hadn't decided he was ready to turn pro and tried to enter the draft. You talk about having played more than one season. You look at that 2003 season, 11-2.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing we really lacked on that team was, and no disrespect to Lydell Ross or Brandon Joe, but we did not have star running back power on that team.
Yeah.
I think this team repeats as national champion if Corrette doesn't leave.
The chat is screaming he probably wins the Heisman.
He probably wins the Heisman, 100% accurate. And, then you look Tressel, what then because you can carry this out, what becomes Tressel's legacy if we then get that that back-to-back title? Is the SEC start on its path to dominance if we get that back-to-back title? You look back at this, I think that Maurice Clarett leaving could have actually given way to the rise of the SEC.
Wow. That's a thought. I don't disagree with it either. I think, the run game was really kind of that missing piece in that season. And you just think of Maurice Clarett, he's up there in the pantheon of Ohio State running backs. And we've had dogs at that position so often. And to lose out on a guy like that, I could definitely see him getting the Heisman for sure. Maybe we repeat. It would have been the closest to repeating. But wow. Yeah, that's a great thought.
I think we definitely repeat. I think we, if we don't beat Wisconsin, we definitely beat Michigan. And I'll say this much so: Heisman, I don't know because he was a little injury prone. He got hurt quite a bit the first freshman year. Or his numbers would have been even greater. So I don't know how that shoulder was. Could he keep it healthy or whatever? Because man, he took a beating. He was the offense pretty much. And Tressel loved to run the ball, and I have nothing against that. I love running the football, and Clarett was a just freak. He's one of the greatest what ifs in Buckeye history, just because the one season is so unheard of. You're that good, and then you're just gone. So if he didn't have maturity issues and he just had his head on straight, he could have been a legend at Ohio State. I'm glad he's back with the program now. I'm glad he's got his life together. Very happy for him on that. But I'm glad Ryan Day's embracing him. But, again, one of the biggest what ifs ever. I do think we repeat, though, for sure. I think if we beat one of those teams and still go to the national title, and I think we were definitely good enough to win it all.
If we go to the national title in 2003, y'all know who we would have played?
Not Miami.
LSU.
Yeah.
Nick Saban. Does Nick Saban not become the Nick Saban we all know today if that would have happened?
Very possible.
That's what I said. It gave rise to the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. What a man. Chris. Now I'm not going to sleep tonight. Forget about it. It's
Sarah,
done.
you're in the chat. He's just thinking about this stuff. That's all he's thinking about.
Promise you. Man, that's a good one. Okay, here we go. The chat's been dancing all over this one. Let's go back to Strez. You seem like a young guy, so we're probably going to go before your time here. We're going to go back to the 90s here, 1996.
What if there was a winning record?
No. What if Ohio State wouldn't have lost to Michigan State?
That's 98.
That's 98. Okay,
98.
well let's take 96. I won 96, so I guess it's Michigan then.
I
Right?
I was 4. I will sit this one out.
Okay.
We're the old guys. Let's hold that.
So 96 we lose to Michigan in very very similar fashion to how we lost this year. By the way, much better team, should have won the game. It's our lone loss that year. We go to the Rose Bowl. We beat Arizona State. We beat Jake Plummer and that Arizona State team who was ranked second going into that game. We would have been ranked first if we wouldn't have lost to Michigan. What is Cooper's legacy if he's got a national championship accredited to his name as the coach of the Ohio State University?
I think it would be better. I mean, that's the fact. It'd be better, but I mean, there's a good 4-year window there. He could have won one or two, right? So he's like Ryan Day right now. He's a little uptight about that game and making mistakes.
You're dancing on it, aren't you? You're dancing on it.
So it's like, I think the bigger what if that season, would you just sit Stanley Jackson and play Joe frickin' Germain, please? But I hated that. The dual quarterback crap, I think, was what basically cost them that year more than anything. But, they finally wised up in the Rose Bowl, let Joe go win it. And but, yeah, his legacy is much, much different. He probably doesn't just get fired, even though he was an 8-4 season, and they saw that the program was no longer elite under him. So,
Chris, what's Cooper's legacy, man? If he's got a natty under his belt.
I agree with Cory. It's better, but without having any kind of record, 2-10-1, if that still exists, I don't think he's ever looked at in the right light. Even with a natty, I don't think he ever truly gets the appreciation he deserves. Now, let's understand, this is a guy that was 111, 43-4 overall at Ohio State. That's a pretty daggone good record.
Mm-hmm.
6 top 10 finishes, bowl appearances 10 out of 13 seasons. He had a good run. I think a better question than that, Eric, is what happens if he is 500 or better versus the team up north and has a national title. And God knows he had at least 3 good opportunities or 3-4 good opportunities at it. He had 93, 95, 96, 98, all great teams. All teams that at least 2 of those could have brought home national titles. I think if you have that, if you tie at least a 500 record, if not a winning record against Michigan to a national title, Coops flipped the script at that point. You fix that, he's no longer a cautionary tale. He is a legend. You're talking about a statue somewhere outside the shoe at some point.
Yeah, if he's got a winning record against the team up north and a national championship, I mean, he's basically Jim Tressel before Tressel.
But here's the thing. If that happens, there is no Jim Tressel.
And
we don't even know we don't even know if there's an Urban Meyer at that point.
Right. And then here's what's interesting to think about. If Cooper, let's just say Cooper does win that game, he wins a national championship, but everything else stays the same. So he's 3-9-1 against the team up north, but he has a national championship. Who is he?
Right now, Ryan Day.
But look at how much different we view Ryan Day today after that national championship run than we did on November 30th.
You know what? You think back about this, though, and Ryan Day is a bad call and 3 points away from 3 national titles in his first 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because if that Clemson game goes the other way,
that's one of my
what ifs. Officials don't screw that. He's got a national title.
We just did Steph Strez's next one.
He's got a national title in his first season.
I don't agree with that.
I think they beat LSU 100%.
Yeah, but Cory, but LSU's not LSU because remember someone else.
We're combining what ifs now. Yeah,
we're creating our own what if universe.
Obviously, that missed field goal at Georgia, which again I still say never should have been put on that kid to kick that field goal. But
agreed.
There. But I mean, he is 3 points and a bad call away from 3 national titles. So as hard as I am on this guy, let's call it what it is. The guy can coach.
Okay. All right. So, Strez, we're going to come back to you here. But before we do, Ryan Day's championship beard, since you dropped 5 new memberships on our lap tonight, including one for yourself, let's answer your what if. I'd like to know what you guys think of if Jim Tressel never got fired, where would this program be now? Strez?
How long would he coach? Would he have coached for? Would
He's
he
like
still be coaching?
6 or something now, isn't he?
Yeah. Like, I mean, there have been teams, there have been coaches that have coached into their, late 70s. Would Jim Tressel be one of those guys? It feels like Jim Tressel is the kind of guy to know, like, all right, I've done my job. It's time to hand it off. But at that point, like, when does he make the handoff? What coaches are available? Would it have been at the point when Urban Meyer was coming back and was ready to take the Ohio State job? Would that have just kind of slid into like the way history actually happened? That is a really tough one just to kind of see like where the program would be. And it's weird. It's a weird one of those things that I don't know. I think about this all the time in life. Like, I didn't think we were going to be getting this deep and philosophical on this podcast, but like,
Here we are.
when you look back on everything that has happened up to this point in Ohio State football history, like I'm kind of thankful for everything, because we're sitting here today getting ready to root for the defending national champions, right? Everything that has happened led us to the Urban Meyer years, the undefeated season, his first year here, 7-0 against the team up north. Like, it led us into Ryan Day. It led us into having Brian Hartline. Thank God for Brian Hartline, right? The wide receiver room that we've had over the last near decade at this point. Would all of those things have happened if, the Jim Tressel would have stayed longer, or what that would have worked out to? But yeah, I don't know. That one's hard to answer, because you just like don't know how long Jim would have wanted to coach and could have at an elite level.
Notre Dame's wine and
You
cheese.
started that, right?
Yeah, we'll come back to that at the end of the show. That's a great question. Hang around to the end of the show. We're going to answer that one on our way out. Yeah, Cory, you up next, man.
Oh, yay. I'll give a hot take. Jim Tressel getting fired was a good thing for Ohio State, because it led to Urban Meyer. I know Bog's about to kill me, and I love Jim Tressel. I mean, he's a legend, and I'm glad he's around the program. I'm glad Ryan Day's smart enough to know it doesn't have the ego to say, no, get away from my locker room. The issue is this. Jim is totally a guy, would have been a great coach forever, Ohio State. I don't know when he would have, Strez, I'm not sure when he would have, put it up or whatever, but he'd have been a total Bobby Bowden, Joe Paterno, and winning 6, 7, 8 games a year. We've been like, can we please move on? This is ridiculous. He would have been that guy, because he was already straddling that line a little bit by the time he was gone. I mean, he was still winning some big games. Of course, Arkansas was a big game. Rose Bowl was a big game. He could still win some big games, but we were definitely not elite at the time. We were just a really good program. Urban took us to elite.
Yeah.
And then set us up with Ryan Day, who, yes, has his issues, but come on, how many more coaches would you want over Ryan Day right now? So I love you, Jimmy. You're a legend. You're on the Mount Rushmore of Ohio State coaches, but man, it was honestly, in hindsight, a good thing for Ohio State overall. And it probably would have been. We wouldn't be. I don't think we'd have had another national title if Jim Tressel had stayed.
I'm going to agree with you.
Yeah.
That had to be painful.
This is why. Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say, I just agree with Cory, and this is why. Despite how great Tressel was, and God love him for putting Ohio State back on the map.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that his game translated well to this era of college football. If you look at the offenses in college football right now, I mean, he was a focus on the defense, special teams guy, and yeah, you got to have that. But he was not a guy who opened up the offense, and that's what's out there today. I don't ever see a Jim Tressel offense against a top tier team putting up 50 points. Just don't.
Mm-mm.
And that's what it takes in today's game.
This is going to sound so sacrilegious to say, but minus the cheating, the 2023 Michigan championship team was the most closest thing we've seen to Tressel ball. And again, minus the cheating, but yeah, it's a bittersweet pill for me to agree with you on this one, Cory, because I absolutely love Sweater Vest. but his time at Ohio State was coming to an end.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, still hate how it ended, but it was time to move on, and I agree. All right, Strez, back to you, man. Let's do a couple more here.
Yeah. I don't know which college. I feel like we've had so many bad bounces in the college football playoff, like since its inception. You could pick just about any single college football playoff appearance and walk through it. But that Clemson game, that was not a targeting penalty, and that was absolutely a fumble. If either of those calls actually is called correctly, what happens?
We win the game.
We win the game.
Absolutely.
100%.
I believe it was Ari Wasserman said after that game, Clemson needed 8 things to happen for them to come back and win that game, and all 8 of those things happened.
Yep.
Which is statistically, mathematically almost impossible, but yet it did. Again, I'm with Steely on this one. Like, I'm still angry today on those calls. Yeah, we win that game.
Mm-hmm.
Do we go on to win the national championship? That's where I don't know if that was. I mean, maybe we do because we have the momentum. But I'll say this much: I would have loved to have seen that 2019 defense and that 2019 LSU offense go head to head. I would have loved to have seen
That would have been the better game. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mika told me to wash my mouth out.
I do feel like we got a little bit of karma on our side. The next season, sending Trevor Lawrence ending his college career with a fat L in that season, but
against that defense, no less.
But at the same time, like going into that game, if Justin Fields doesn't take a helmet to the ribs, does the national championship game look different? Like, there's been we're talking about we've talked about the Georgia game, and I don't know if this is going to be somebody else's what if. Not even the field goal. If Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't get knocked out of the game from
Probably
that targeting no call, we're national champions that year. It's just been so many bad bounces for the Buckeyes in the college football playoff. That was probably why I was most nervous about having to win 4 games this last college football playoff, because it's just like, good Lord, we've had such bad luck in the playoffs, but it was a different monster.
And to piggyback off of that, Strez, here's one for you. What if Gene Smith actually does the right thing and says, we're not going to go play in a bowl game. We're going to penalize ourselves in 2011 for that bowl game. And then therefore the NCAA agrees to it and doesn't take away a postseason bowl ban from us in 2012. We're probably national champions in 2012 too.
Oh, absolutely.
And then Urban's a 2-time national champion at Ohio State.
Yeah. And was that 2011 year the Orange Bowl against Taj Boyd?
No, it was Gator Bowl against
Florida.
I actually went to that one. Yeah.
Okay. Because there's Clemson just is always in my brain in the postseason for some. I just can't.
Because we keep playing them all the time.
I know it just drives me nuts.
Which one are we on now? Like the Clemson game?
Yeah, the Clemson game. I just piggybacked off of that.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah. The targeting call, I agree with Strez. It was not targeting, though I see the debate on it.
Yeah.
Even though I think Trevor dipped into it and then he, got an Academy Award. I'm hurt, and then got straight up. I can't stand Trevor Lawrence. I hope he loses every pro game he ever plays. But that scoop and score made me irate. I was irate at that. That was clearly a catch, clearly a strip, and Jordan Fuller clearly, put us ahead. And yeah, exactly.
3 days ago, this was tweeted.
It's like, come on, it's 4 steps with the ball in his hands, for crying out loud. If that was in the end zone, that's a touchdown. So I don't want to hear anybody, Anyway, and then some Clemson fan comes to me and says, really didn't impact the game. We lost by 6. A touchdown was taken off the board. Do you think it didn't impact the game, you moron? And I still maintain to this day that somebody just wanted Trevor Lawrence in that championship game, because look, we talk about Michigan cheating all the time. That was the most clear evidence of cooking the officiating I've ever seen in a game. That was unreal.
Somebody got rich that day.
Exactly. That was Remember the Titans, where Coach Yost had to go talk to the refs type thing. You know, that was that bad. It's like, are you kidding me with this? And I'll always be bitter over that game because I never will feel we lost fair and square on that one.
Chris.
I do it, Aaron. Eric. You ready?
Yeah.
What if on December 1st, 2024, Ryan Day had been fired following his fourth straight loss to Michigan?
Oh, you're going to make Mika come after you.
And
There
then
was
Brian
a lot of
Hartline wins the
Buckeye Nation
national
out there.
championship.
Several people on this podcast included,
What if Chris got his way? Is that what you're saying?
who were yelling, myself included,
Hey, I never
that Ryan Day
lost
needed to
faith
go.
in
Now,
Ryan Day.
I believe Cory was at least on the bandwagon of let him finish the season and see how it plays out. You and I were ready to hang him that day, Eric.
I wouldn't said that. I was
You
hurt.
called me and said you were a broken fan.
I
as
did.
you were
I
leaving
was.
the
I
stadium.
was broken.
We all
I
were.
was broken, man. Dude,
So
I almost
what-
got in a fight at the shoe with a Michigan fan. That's how broken I was, man.
What happens if Ryan Day is terminated?
We lose
Like
to
many,
Tennessee.
many people want.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't have a natty. I think that goes without saying. But what does the program look like?
Does that affect the college football playoff selection committee's selections?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Like even
Absolutely.
if we still have the
We'd
same
still
guys.
it would still make it, I think.
We
but
still
we'd be
make it, but
lower
are we
seed.
seeing it where we are? No.
Let me ask you this.
We don't get a home game, that's for
since
sure.
he's in the
Yeah.
chat, if Ryan Day is fired on November 1st, does Notre Dame have a different head coach today?
Oh, because we called Marcus Freeman up.
No. No, because that's the day I turn off the TV.
Yeah. Ross Bjork's really getting your opinion, big guy.
Marcus Freeman's a joke. But we're not going to go down that
I
rabbit hole
will
right
say
now.
this: Notre Dame is probably national champions if Ryan Day is fired, and Notre Dame probably says, "We will give you anything you want, Marcus, to stay." You know, we'll pay you $15 million a year.
But, obviously, you
he's
look
the
at the
Pope
long-term
today.
effect.
I said Marcus Freeman's probably the Pope today if that happens.
Nice.
Good. Send him to Italy. I'm done with his sorry butt.
Oh,
Anyhow.
gosh. Strez,
So-
where were you at, dude, on November 1st, man? Where were you at in your feelings?
Man, I was so a little bit of backstory on how I became an Ohio State fan. So I grew up in a tiny town in Northwest Arkansas, right? So I've got Razorback red like in my blood, like it was just born into me. But somehow my dad is from Alpena, Michigan. So naturally, he's a Wolverines fan. My first time ever sitting down watching a national championship game was when we beat Miami. So I owe so much to Jim Tressel, right? So it was a fun decade before the 20s, in my household, just getting to just make fun of my dad for being a fan of the team up north just every single season. And this year I just knew, oh my God, it's going to be a bloodbath. Ryan Day's going to hang 100 freaking points on these dorks. It's going to be amazing. And then I'm at a bar here in Kansas City. It's the Ohio State bar. It's where the Kansas City Ohio State Alumni Association meets every Saturday for the games. And we've got the bar sold out. It had snowed. Roads were crazy, but people still braved the elements to get into this bar. And I have never been more dejected. I screamed the entire drive home. I was just so in my brain, and I didn't want to watch football for the rest of the year. And I played the game for 17 years. I've been the massive fan of my teams. I'd never miss a game. I didn't want to watch another football game for the rest of the year. I will say I was not on the Fire Ryan Day train. I was probably the same. Which one of you three said that you
Corey
were
was
there?
the waited out through the playoffs.
Yes,
yeah,
Cory,
no,
get through the postseason, see what happens. We're still not out of this thing. This is the first year of 12 teams. See what happens, and then he kind of absolutely got back in the good graces. But I have never been more embarrassed, more dejected, more disappointed in being an Ohio State Buckeyes fan than I was walking out of that bar after that game was over.
I just have to comment. You said your dad's from Alpena, Michigan?
Yeah.
So I'm so mature in my mind. I heard IP on Michigan.
No, that's where I'm from.
Yeah.
I'd also like to take a big dump on the M in the middle of the field, but that's beside the point.
Yep.
Do you think it would start a fight? You get maced?
Yeah, if the fight doesn't happen,
No,
Yeah.
because they
does
love
the team
fights.
go on to
Right, and who know? Right, that's a
Yeah.
great one. What if? Right, because we've all thought about this. Like, do we win a national championship if we win that football game?
Yeah.
That's a tough call, man.
Maybe not.
Probably not.
Which is just wild to think about. But I mean,
We
here
were still
are.
capable of winning a national title if we had won that football game. We could have had both, but then we played Oregon the next week in the Big Ten title game, and the butterfly effect, everything shifts.
Yeah, there was a $2. Oh yeah, here it is. Bobby Mack. I like this one. $2 super chat. Smash that like button, and Angel gets their wings.
Nice.
that is a true statement. Very much so. One more, Cory. You got one more, buddy?
I got a good one for you.
Okay.
What if Roy Hall could celebrate like a normal person and not break Ted Ginn's leg in the national title game against the Gators?
That's funny you put that one because one of my what ifs is what if we win the 2006 national championship?
Well, I mean, we lost pretty badly, but obviously
Yeah.
when you take that guy out of your game plan, it changes things dramatically. Nobody to stretch the field. No, I mean, that was a real big speed advantage with Ted Ginn, obviously. You all know that.
This is not hyperbolic here. I think that team might be compared to one of the greatest in college football history.
Yep.
They started the season ranked number 1. They went all the way to the national championship game, number 1 that entire season in the AP poll. That might go down as one of the greatest teams in college football history. And I don't think that that's a joke. I think I'm being dead honest with that.
Well, think about adding some what ifs here. Claret comes back. We repeat in 2003. Then we don't break Ted Ginn's leg. We win in 2006. And then Tressel has 3 natties to his name. All of a sudden, he's Nick Saban. So
that might be true.
That just makes my argument. Claret leaving gave rise to the SEC.
And then we put the final nail in the coffin of the SEC becoming the world power by, breaking Ted Ginn's leg and Urban Meyer rising to godlike status in Florida.
Yeah. Mick B, that's funny because it's true. Troy was not ready for that.
He was sweating bullets in the warm-up, man.
Yeah.
I even told my dad, I was like, he was listed at 213. Now he's listed at 230. What in the world?
Yeah, that Heisman tour was not good for him. That's a great one, Cory, because it leads you down the road to talk again about one of the greatest coaches in my lifetime, Jim Tressel. And I love that. And if he could have had 3 natties attached to his name,
and keep him there for as long as he wants. You are.
Do you want the ultimate one, Eric? Go back to 1951. What if an assistant coach by the name of Bo Schembechler is made the head coach instead of Woody Hayes?
Well, then he doesn't have any national titles.
None of us are here. That's what happens. I mean, let's just be honest. That would have been terrible. Fun fact, not really fun to think about, but here's one for you. This is going way, way back here now. So, World War II, if I have that right, happens.
Early 40s.
And Paul Brown is the head coach at Ohio State. Had won a national championship in 1942.
Mm-hmm.
He leaves Ohio State to go off to war, if I recall correctly, and never came back to coach Ohio State again. In fact, during World War II, he coached the Lake Erie Naval Academy or something like that. Like obviously a defunct university now, and then he goes on to coach the Cleveland Browns to multiple world championships, and then goes on to create the Cincinnati Bengals. Woody Hayes never happens, but Paul Brown probably wins 5 or 6 national championships.
Paul Brown would be our Bear Bryant without question.
Yes.
He was that, in his offensive mind, he was that much more advanced than everybody else before his time. Like I said, he goes off to the NFL with the Cleveland Browns and won how many national championships or world championships, I think is what they called it at the time. And then
I'm going to look that one up.
It's at least 3 or 4, isn't it, Chris?
I'll be honest, I don't recall.
You're a Browns fan. Come on, bro.
I try not to be.
By the way, Strez owns the ultimate hurt on your life, dude, with John Elway and the Broncos.
I don't want to talk about it.
I was going to bring it up.
Paul Brown won 3.
He won 3.
Yeah.
Actually, he doesn't own the ultimate. Yeah, he probably does. It'd be a toss-up between him and any Chicago Bulls fan. Because Michael Jordan hitting that shot over Craig Elo might have been just as painful as the fumble and the drive.
But at least I'd say it had to be less, right? Because Jordan at least became the GOAT. Like, he became the guy.
I'll tell you what, I look at Jordan the same way I look at John Elway. I can't stand either one of them, but I got mad respect for what they can do.
Damn, they were good. Yeah.
Dude, hot take. I know we're getting all off topic. I can't watch the NBA. I can't do it.
I can't do it anymore.
I physically get ill watching the NBA today. But if you go back and you watch 90s NBA playoffs, oh my gosh, was that must-see TV growing up as a kid. Like
80s was good too, but I don't
remember
too much
play
of it.
Defense. And it was physical. I mean, Lambeer would knock people into row 3, you know?
Clothesline Larry Bird. Who does that?
Yeah.
All right, let's close the show off by going back to this Notre Dame wine and cheese question, and let's answer this one for him. This needs to be answered. I trust you guys to give an honest Big Ten take. Why is Penn State getting this level of preseason hype and OSU relatively isn't? Seems off to me. What's your take? Let's go counterclockwise. Chris, you go first.
Well, for me, I look at it like this. I think a lot of it is you look at Michigan a few years ago, you look at Ohio State last year, everybody talks about the roster continuity, the key returnees, how senior-laden the team was. That is where Penn State is this season. They made a very strategic coaching acquisition in getting Jim Knowles, who was the defensive coordinator at Ohio State. You look at this roster at Ohio State, and we lost, what did we have? 15 guys, 16 guys. Well, we actually lost a total of 17 guys, but 15 of them were drafted to the NFL. So, I mean, we lost a lot of NFL quality talent. We did lose, of course, Chip Kelly. We lost Knowles. And we have uncertainty at quarterback, whereas Penn State has Drew Aller coming back. So conventional wisdom would tell people this is the makeup of potentially a team that can make a run in the Big Ten, that being Penn State. That being said, Ohio State is still as talented as ever. They have, I believe, the best coach in the Big Ten. And more importantly, Penn State still has James Franklin, who will James Franklin this thing and end up probably not even making the Big Ten title game. That's my take.
Cory.
If James Franklin doesn't do it this year, you may as well move on. There's no other year that he should have all the cards on the table and be able to do it. They've pumped a lot of money in the program in NIL. Obviously, they went and got Knowles. Come on. I mean, Drew Aller returning, he should have gone pro, but he probably would have been a first-round draft pick. But he stayed. Okay, great, he stayed. Now you got an experienced quarterback. You got arguably right now, I'm not saying it'll end this way, possibly the best quarterback in the Big Ten. That Ohio State has a lot of question marks. I mean, I like Matt Patricia so far, but I have no idea what the defense is going to look like. We've got talent for sure. Defensive line depth's a little bit of an issue, especially in the tackle position. Everywhere else looks pretty solid, but again, will Patricia mesh with the guys we have? Offensive line is a concern only because Tyler Bowen, I just don't know with him yet. He's recruiting well, but will he coach him well? So they have a lot of talent. Running back's a little bit of a question mark. So Julian's saying, how good will he be? How fast will he be that good? So there's a lot of questions that go with Ohio State, but we are talented. We are Ohio State. We do win a freaking ton of football games, and Ryan Day is an elite head coach. So I understand why people would favor Penn State over us right now, but if you think we're out of it right now, you just do so at your own peril at that point.
Strez.
Yeah, it's James Franklin. I don't know what more needs to be said. Like, he will never and can never win the big one. I mean, even in a 12-team playoff format, he still couldn't get it done this year and win the big games. Like, it's just not in his DNA. It's not there for James Franklin. I saw this weekend that this week he was at Vanderbilt watching their baseball game. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if he has any ties to what his ties are to Vanderbilt. Maybe
he used to coach there.
He was okay there.
So that makes more sense. And I was like looking at that. I was like, what is this even?
Maybe
What are we looking at here? So it's just I don't see Penn State actually being a real threat other than being the third best team in the Big Ten, like they are every single year. Whoever the 1 and 2 are ahead of them, Ohio State and whoever else is ahead of Penn State. It's always going to be Ohio State and somebody else ahead of Penn State. And they're going to be the third best team in the conference every single year. And it's just, this is going to be another one of those years. And I think Cory's absolutely right. Like, they have to move on after this year. Right?
So my wife and I go to Pennsylvania every year before this football season starts. It's one of our secret destination, Presque Isle. It's amazing there, by the way. Out of all the places on planet Earth, Erie, PA has the best freshwater beach in the world. No one knows this. But anyways, I digress. It's amazing to me when you're in Pennsylvania how numb their fan base is to that program. They want to be good. They expect to be good. None of them expect to win at all. And it's because James Franklin has got them to a place where they know at some point he's going to let them down. And I agree with you, Cory. This is a do or die year for James Franklin. But to answer the question, it's revisionist history. Michigan returned a lot, they won. Ohio State returned a lot, they won. James Franklin and Penn State returns a lot, and they'll James Franklin themselves. That's where
It'd
we're
be
at.
really funny if they didn't even make the 12-team playoff. That would be
It
funny.
would be hilarious.
I wouldn't be shocked.
I wouldn't be shocked, but I would be laughing.
Oh, absolutely. I'll join you in that.
Yeah.
If they don't make it, does that mean that the SEC's got 7 teams in?
Bring all the SEC time. We knocked down the SEC in last.
How many
playoff.
tweets does Lane Kiffin send off before the final selection show happens? That's the
Hey,
question.
we're 8-4, but we're the best 8-4.
I'm going to set the over-under on that at 18.5.
That's too good. How do Pennsylvania football fans survive year in and year out with James Franklin and Mike Tomlin?
They don't have a long lifespan up there. They can't.
It's why that's just like thinking
At least
about
Tomlin's
the two.
got a ring, though.
That's fair, but I mean, how long?
But that
ago
was like 20
He
years
gets
ago.
from Ohio to get it for him, but
That's true. It might happen again this year with another kid from Ohio. I guess not from Ohio, but
Oh, that's kind of funny. I like that joke. It's a good dad joke. So in closing here, since we're talking about Penn State, our thoughts and condolences to Julian Fleming and his girlfriend and their families. What a tragic story, and I don't mean to bring anything down, but We're talking about Penn State, and it felt right to acknowledge that fact that yes, we do know that, and our condolences to those families. That's just awful. Also, tomorrow is a big day here in the United States, Memorial Day. Thank you to all the veterans, even though this isn't Veterans Day. A veteran told me one time, this holiday is not for him. This holiday is for those who didn't come home. And he's 100% right with that. So do take a little bit of time to think about that and contemplate that this weekend and honor of our freedoms that have been given to us. Strez, you have been a fantastic guest, my man. Tell everybody again where they can find you in the podcasts that you run and are a part of.
Yeah, you can find me on TikTok is kind of my biggest spot. I'm almost at 30,000 followers over there on TikTok, so you can hit me up there at its.strez. And if you're interested in a college football podcast that talks about all of college football, you can follow us over at the Waterboys College Football Show. We post every week over there talking about all things college football. We've kind of turned into kind of a Travis Hunter stan podcast. We really love everything that Travis Hunter has been doing over the last 365 days of he just got married. This man is having an incredible run. Honestly, you win the Heisman, you go second overall in the draft pick, you get NFL draft, you get married. Kid's doing crazy stuff, but
his wife never looks happy, man.
Yeah, she's married to a top 2 draft pick now. So
trust me, she's happy.
But yeah, and if you're interested in any NFL content and there are any Broncos fans that are here, I also have a YouTube channel called The Broncos Hub, where I talk about all things Denver Broncos and the NFL. So I just love talking football. There's just something about the greatest sport ever invented. And I love every piece of it. So,
Phil Robertson died. Oh, jeez. Sorry, I just saw that. I'm sorry, Bobby Mack just completely.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the Duck Dynasty guy.
Duck Dynasty guy.
Gave up his spot to Terry
I'm sorry,
Bradshaw.
Strez. I didn't mean to.
No, you're good. That is really sad.
Steely Matt, good job, Strez. Thank you for coming in to the OHIO podcast. And Mika
absolutely
Mika
did not let us down, Strez.
No.
At all.
I'm still batting 1,000, Cory.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah, Tyler.
Yeah, don't ever let me book the guest because I can't get them nearly this good. I promise.
Tyler, you just lost cred, man. Sorry.
Nah.
Yeah, Bo Nix is the truth, baby. Let's go.
Actually, nobody talked about his rookie season, but he was awesome last year.
Yeah, he set several rookie records and had the best passing season of all rookie quarterbacks this last year, but nobody gives him any of the conversation. It's
Nobody
really
talked about him. I couldn't believe it. I was like looking at it, why is nobody talking about Bo Nix?
Yeah. He was like a top 10 fantasy quarterback by the end of the season too, which is crazy.
Sean Payton he's a quarterback guru, man.
He is. Now we got Evan Ingram, Jahdae Barron from Texas Longhorns. The Thorpe Award winner is now in that defensive backfield. It's going to be crazy. Yeah, we're excited in Broncos country.
Better jerseys, old school Broncos jerseys or new school Broncos jerseys?
Nothing will ever top those 77 throwbacks that we pulled out this last season.
The old school orange?
Yes. Oh my God, they are.
I love
perfect.
those helmets. I love those helmets.
The light blue on the helmet with the D with the sneezing horse in it. Just everything about it is just perfect.
Sneezing horse.
it's perfect.
Old school NFL logos were fantastic. Like the Patriots,
I miss the
center.
creamsicle Tampa Buccaneers. Oh.
Those
uniforms.
Buccaneers. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. We had a conversation actually on the Waterboys podcast like a month or so ago. We actually got a chance to interview Ricky Waters.
Oh, nice.
And that man has worn some of the coolest NFL uniforms ever. The Kelly Green Eagles uniforms, those I don't even know what colors you want to call them in Seattle. The neon with the silver and the navy.
Yeah.
And also he had the
old school Niners jersey.
The old school Niner, his uniforms in the NFL were awesome.
Yeah, old school NFL jerseys were the best, but
and then
I don't know.
You got the Browns, who are the Penn State,
who are still
they
wearing
never
them.
Change.
They're still wearing. I love when Cleveland's like, we're coming out with new jerseys, and it's like
the Browns a little bit
what
darker.
Changed?
I guess.
I don't know.
That logo on their helmet is something to behold, though.
Use your imagination. Great show, everybody, tonight. If you haven't already, please smash that like button on your way out. Chris, you going to be doing a call-in show tomorrow, or are you going to take the night off since it's
Monday,
a holiday?
right?
It is Monday tomorrow.
Monday.
All right. Got nothing going on tomorrow night? 8 o'clock Eastern. Chris will be doing a call-in show right here on the OHIO podcast. Ring the bell, get notified so you don't miss it. Thank you so much, everybody. Great job in the chat tonight. Strez, thank you, sir. Great job. We'll bring you back on again sometime. Great guest. Cory, have a great holiday tomorrow. Hopefully you don't have to go painting anywhere. Hopefully you can take the day off. All right. Sounds good, everybody. Thanks so much. You all know the drill. Be kind to one another. I owe someone's OH. Sing Carmen, Ohio with all your heart. Till next time. OH!
Ayo.
Ayo.
Go Bucks.